But the question you asked was in relation to Salasa Zulamat. There are three covers of darkness in which human embryo prospered. What are those covers? Metaphorically speaking, there could be other covers, but literally speaking, they are the covers of the body around the uterus. And the cover of the uterus around the special sac, which is called
placenta.
Placenta, I think, is the cord which connects, let's say, the body of the uterus. I've said first the body of the mother which carries the uterus, then the uterus. Then I think you're right, it is the inner portion in which the child prospers is called placenta, and it is the cord which connects placenta with the navel of the mother. So there are three covers, right? Now, how in that age could any man imagine that the embryo is brought up and flourishes under three covers? Nobody could. Because at that time, human knowledge of how child was nourished within the uterus was not known to the mankind. Only there is one possibility, perhaps, that when placenta was discharged, then everybody came to know. But Zulumat, when you concentrate on that issue, then you realize that this reference is not by an ordinary man. This reference could have been only by God. Because these three things mentioned as covers of darkness indicate that at each stage there is threat to life. Otherwise they could not have been shown as darkness. So first of all, the human body which gives birth to the embryo is all the time in danger of not producing the right sort of cells. So that is the first darkness. For the human body to follow a set pattern whereby male sperms and female ovaries and their eggs are created, this is dependent for its perfect exercise on so many factors as cannot be. But for the genetic cells responsible for preservation of species, as far as they are concerned, they have very complicated internal mechanism or machinery or division, which at every step is threatened by mishaps. So it's amazing that a child is born, because the mishap at the very initial stages was not a chance, but that dominated the thing. And it was just a chance, apparently, if there was no God, that by chance the whole thing was completed and designed, and that design was implemented into realities of life. It's difficult for me to explain all this because my viewers are mostly unaware of scientific facts. But they should believe me that the first cover, that is that of body, contains all the intricacies which warrant mishaps far more than the right happening. The possibility of mishaps is much greater. Secondly, the creation of uterus within the female. That uterus is very complicated thing. And that uterus itself provides the second danger of darkness, because uterus is full of antibodies which do not like an extraneous matter to enter the uterus and be accepted by the whole body. Our system of defense within ourselves provides us with the with the provision of antibodies. Now these antibodies are again a very complicated affair. It's impossible for me to describe all of this here, but ordinary viewers should understand that these antibodies take care that no foreign extraneous matter enters the body without being destroyed by the antibodies. And when the male sperm enters the uterus, the same is the reaction released. So a bombardment of antibodies constantly threatens the embryo to be aborted. If God had not taken special measures to counter this attack, childbirth could not be possible. No childbirth anywhere could be possible. So the scientists are now peeping into whole of this scheme of things, and they're amazed at these antibodies being fought back by the antibodies in the uterus. So a full war goes on throughout the 9 months. And then the third layer of darkness is the placenta. And the same thing is true of placenta. If placenta was not provided with all its potential to retain the embryo and was well timed for its development, if even the slightest mishap could happen to the ovary of a female, uterus and placenta membrane or other things, the attachment of the placenta within the uterus, they are all mishaps which should normally happen, because this is the challenge of darkness. But Allah has designed all these things in a manner that although the threat is there, but it is frustrated. Now the cord we mentioned, which attaches placenta with the uterus, that cord draws all the blood and things from mother to take care of the embryo. If that placenta is attached in the wrong place in the uterus, if it were to happen by chance, it should happen much more often that it is attached in the wrong place. And when it is attached in the wrong place, then the embryonic child could not be delivered when it develops fully, because the placenta, in that case when it is wrongly placed, would threaten the very child which is yet to be born, and also threaten the life of the mother. So the third darkness is very easily seen in this working of the placenta and how it is attached. People do not know where it could be attached and why it should be attached there, but they know one thing, that some mothers who have placenta previa, their attachment to the uterus is close to the neck of the uterus from where the child is delivered. And when it begins to extend and prepare for the delivery, the placenta is either broken in a manner that the bleeding starts and it cannot stop. Before the child is delivered, that bleeding can most often kill the mother and the child, of course. And secondly, the cord of the placenta could entangle the child itself in a manner that his neck will be wrapped as if by a strong cord, and the child will have no means to breathe after that. So whatever it is, it's a delivery of a dead fetus. Live child cannot be delivered. So this goes for the placenta, which is the third cover, as mentioned in the Holy Quran. When I said no human could at that time imagine these things, he could have been told by people that placenta always comes out and the child is wrapped in that. But he could not have known that all these three things have a darker aspect about them, has a threatening image. And because of their threatening character, it is said, fi zulumat thalath. See? And because the Holy Quran projects it as a great wonder, so it's not an ordinary statement. Everybody could say, child children are created in 3 sacks. But how could it indicate the existence of God and His creative wonders? Unless we ponder over the words Zulumat Salas and detect these things from there. Have I said too much for you to translate, or have you taken notes of all this?
I did take notes.
Good. I overburdened him with all these Salasa Zulumat and things.
This has become
But he still is a healthy embryo, dwells within.